Hello everyone, this is False Mind Reads, and today I bring you a review of The City and the City by China Miéville. Now, I have to confess something. I did not read this book because of this book. I read this book because of a game that is probably my favorite game of all time, Disco Elysium. It's heavily inspired. In the list of inspirations that the creators of Disco Elysium give, they give The City and the City as an example. And I heard it also, I think, in a Jacob Geller video about Disco Elysium, how it influenced it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. And so when I first picked it up, I was mostly just reading it because I was kind of on a Disco Elysium kick at that time. So I got about 80 pages into it, then put it down for, I started reading Return of the Crimson Guard, put that down for this, picked that back up and put this down for that. And then read Toll the Hounds, and then went and read other things. And I was starting Dust of Dreams, and I was like, okay, well, I was also reading, Eberron City of Stairs. I was reading that one. I was also, just finished Stonewielder. And so I was like, okay, I need to clear the slate a little bit, and I still want to read all of these books, so I just have to finish them. And when I picked it back up, I read it in 2 days. It was I'm not used to reading fast-paced books, but it felt fast-paced for me. Something was happening every chapter, and the plot was progressing every chapter. Which, when you're used to reading 1,000 more pages than this book actually is, it can feel nice to kind of get something done. And it was nice. It was a nice read. I think that the biggest hurdle people have with this is actually just the way that China writes. I guess Miéville, I'll call him Miéville. That the way that Miéville writes, his prose are, they go for a realistic sense of dialogue at least, and I'm not used to reading first person, so I guess that caught me up. But if you're more used to reading first person, that might not be a problem. But this follows Taylor Bourdeau as he is in Basel, I think. Anyways. And he has to navigate, for the sake of a murder, a complex city and a city. Basically, there's two cities that are on the same topographical location. So they're basically if you go outside and you look at the buildings around you, in this city, half the buildings are in another city. And it is literally illegal to recognize and to consciously recognize half the buildings in the city as where they actually are. And so that makes for an interesting navigatory problem when trying to solve a murder, because what happens when someone is murdered in one city and then dumped in the other? How do you, as a detective, how do you kind of deal with that? And that's the question that this book asks. And the stuff with the city and the city, it wasn't ever confusing. Miéville does a very good job at showing you how and telling you why these things are, the rules are the way they are. And then he challenges you on them and gets you thinking. And it's kind of, I don't want to say a mind-bending novel, but it's really good. It's short too. That's another thing. I can recommend this to you because it's short, it's good, it's a standalone, it's self-contained, and the ending was okay. This book is split up into 3 parts, and of the 3, my least favorite was the last part, but that's kind of to do with just general plotting, because I think the 3rd part is also the shortest part, so it kind of feels like everything is just over in a flash. You start the first part and it's over, or the 3rd part and it's over. But it's not that bad. It is a good ending. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this book. It's good. I think you should read this book. If you like Disco Elysium, you should definitely read this book. You can definitely see some inspirations, and it'll make for a good 3rd or 4th playthrough of the game when you know what you're looking for these inspirations. Yeah, and that's all I got to say on The City and the City by China Miéville. Thank you guys for watching. If you leave a like and subscribe, that would really be appreciated by me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.